Hello, welcome to Monday night's Hotline Live with Record Sport, brought to you by NordVPN, easily the best place to watch sporting events which aren't available in your region. Tonight, I'm delighted to say there's no Keith Jackson. I'm finally joined by some real pundits, some real analysts. Record Sport's Michael Gannon. Mick, how's it going?
Not bad. That was good there with the old plug for the new sponsors. Dan, very professional.
Listen, I've tried a lot of VPNs in my time.
Well,
This is my favourite.
I'm going to watch what I'm saying here. I'm sure you have.
We're also joined, Mick, by the one and only Tam McManus. Tam, how's it going? Oh, he can't hear us. That is a bit of a nightmare. Hold on. I'll kick him out and then come back in, Tam. There's a good start to the show.
That's a good start to Monday, isn't it?
Tam is on, obviously, ahead of Hearts versus Hibs tomorrow night, which is an absolutely massive game. We'll talk about that. Can you hear us now, Tam?
Yes. Sorry, boys.
How's it going?
I'm good. Good to
just saying to Mick there that obviously best place for us to start. Massive game tomorrow night. Hearts v Hibs. I know it's always a massive game, but this one, particularly for Hearts, has got a lot riding on it.
Yeah, it has. I think the only thing really left for Hibs this season is fourth place and trying to be spoilers in the Hearts titles credentials. And they've got 2 games possibly to do that. And they've got tomorrow night and they've got obviously the game after the split. So yeah, it's a huge game. All the pressure's on Hearts, but a good pressure. You know, I'd rather Hibs were going for the league and having that pressure than not. So yeah, it's going to be a monumental game. I think when you look at the last couple, the first one at Tynecastle, I thought Hibs were unlucky to lose the game, and then Hibs, 3-0 up at Easter Road and could have been 4 or 5 before Hearts made a late comeback. So
that was a crazy game.
A crazy game of football. Hibs have got 5 or 6 new signings who have never experienced an Edinburgh derby, who are first tasting it tomorrow night probably. So from experience myself, I know it's 100 miles an hour to be a culture shock, but yeah, it's going to be a fantastic game and all eyes will be on the Edinburgh derby tomorrow night.
And the thing as well, Mick, is that particularly given not just the defeat at St Mirren, but I kind of felt like the manner of the defeat at St Mirren, Hearts kind of need to hit back tomorrow.
That was the first time that I thought Hearts looked, I'm not saying nervy, but they were very safe, weren't they? And because they tried to play kind of safe, I thought they played right into St Mirren's kind of hands. St Mirren were kind of intense and got in their face, and they just looked a wee bit unsure of themselves, unlike them this season. Listen, anyone can lose at St Mirren. I mean, in Paisley. I mean, that was more like the usual kind of St Mirren, wasn't it? And then obviously going down to 10. I thought they were better with 10 men than they were 11. I know the kind of the noises afterwards from Derek and the guys was, the 10 men kind of killed us and we can't keep doing that and that cost us. I thought St Mirren were better when it was 11v11. They're lucky enough to do 2 or 3 up at that point. And then weirdly, I thought Hearts were a bit more organised and more secure with 10. But they need to bounce back. I mean, like you say, I think the pressure is on Hearts. When I was through there on Friday, doing press stuff, and Derek was saying they don't care what people think about the kind of people saying, their bubbles burst again. That gives me many times this bubble going to burst this season. I feel like that bubbles basically doesn't care what anyone thinks. They're in the fight. I think their mentality's got to be that, like, they're in this thrilling kind of title race now. Why not kind of enjoy it and be part of it? Because what's alternative to be fighting for a top 6 place, or like you say, top Hibs going for 4th? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's not that sexy, is it?
Yeah.
So they should be embracing it and make the most of it. But it's going to be a cracker. And it's all right saying enjoy it, embrace it. But when the tension starts to build and the kind of the game's ticked off, it is going to be more nerve wracking. And it's interesting to see how they cope with it, because it's not something they're going to be used to having to deal with a running for a title. It's good. How were the Hibs new boys looking last week, Tam? Obviously a good result. They seemed to turn a corner with the Rangers game and then the last kind of late win last week. How did they look?
Well, I thought Dane Scarlett up front was superb on loan from Tottenham. I thought he looked every inch a kind of Premier League player. He looked a cut above. I thought his link-up play, he was getting his shots away. He looked a good footballer, and he looked dangerous as well, looked lively. Obviously, Big Suto coming on, the Croatian. He came on. He came on as a substitute. And he's a big lad. I think he'll suit an Edinburgh derby. And first, before he'd even touched the ball, he just rattled into Ross Graham. Just bars him on his backside. And I'm thinking, oh, where we go here? This big guy. And then his header for the goal is an unbelievable header. The ball's kind of floated in behind him, and he generates that power to put it in off the post. So what a start for him as well. I thought Garangana at the back was excellent alongside Bashiri. Again, a guy with Champions League experience. Kai Andrews came on again, looked really good. So looking at the Hibs squad and the Hibs team, there just seemed to be a wee bit of freshness about them. Obviously, the bank to money for Bowie, and they've brought 4 or 5 in, and I just think they looked a fresher team. They looked livelier, and they looked as if they had a stronger bench. So I don't know how many of them will play. Paslak at right back was only one I thought struggled. After 5 minutes, he gets skinned down the line, and then he get booked after 10. I'm thinking to myself, it's not a great debut for him, but he grew into the game before going off with cramp. But I don't know if they'll start him. I think they might play Megwa at right back. So been interesting to see the Hibs team, but they played a kind of 3-4-3. It was very attacking with Ellie Yuhan and Boyle either side of Dane Scarlett. It was a real attacking team, so I don't know if they'll go with that same kind of philosophy to Tynecastle tomorrow night.
You mentioned, sorry Mick, on you go.
I was just saying, I thought, you mentioned the new faces. I think Hibs needed that, didn't they? They needed a wee bit of freshness. I thought it looked to me that the season was kind of going nowhere. I was starting to head down a cul-de-sac, but it looks like that may give them a wee bit of a freshness, a bit of a boost for the kind of running. Because I thought, it wasn't going great, was it? Before up to the last week or so. So they probably needed that kind of impetus for these guys to bring in. But in contrast, see the Hearts new signings, I think, are going to need to get up to speed quicker as well. I mean, we keep waiting for Chesnikov and Aguiu and now Matters come in. I don't think they're quite there yet in terms of fitness to be going into the team. But Hearts could probably do them. You look at, Shanklin's out, Devlin's out. I think Mark Leonard's come in, done pretty well, middle of the park. I thought his first kind of 15 minutes against Celtic, it looked like he dropped into the middle of a prison riot. He was kind of standing there like, what's going on here? But he found his feet, and I thought he was good the rest of that game, and he was good again. He was decent again the other week. But I think they could do with these new guys that come in with big reputations, getting up to speed and getting in and impacting the team, couldn't they? But I don't think they're going to be ready for this one, that's for sure.
Well, what I was going to say there, guys, was, I know, as you say, Mick, they did sign players, Hearts, but I kind of had a sneaky feeling going into January that maybe Tony Bloom would have pushed the boat out a bit more. I'm not saying it ain't mad, but I thought they'd have maybe done a wee bit more in January.
It's not really the Tony Bloom model, though. Listen, I think Hearts are way ahead of schedule in terms of Bloom's kind of plans, and the signs they make tend to be for long term. He signs guys for Brighton, and they see him playing in the Premier League in England. And they go, "Oh, he's been at the club for 3 years." No, seen him for 3 years. They've had a loan deal somewhere. They've been dipped in and out. They're very much kind of longer term. And I think the guys that signed are for the longer term. So that's the way it operates. It's not really the kind of short term go out and get a big name signing or whatever it is. So that's not really how he thinks. But I think they could do with some of these guys, just freshen up a wee bit, because they're the same kind of core that have gone to the well week in, week out. And a lot of these games have been tough for Hearts. A lot of them have been like toss of the coin jobs, and they've battled it out and got the results. Then fair play to them, by the way. But a lot of them could have went either way, including the derbies. So they could do with that wee bit of freshness, helping them out. That's what I mean as well. Because they're in right good position, but they just need a wee bit extra, I think, at the moment, just to get them going.
See, from a Hibs point of view, Tam, if Hearts were to do this, the unthinkable, the first team in 41 years to break the Old Firm dominance, how would that go down?
Little end balloon. I seen Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor last week saying it'd be great for Edinburgh if Hearts won the league. Hibs supporters should be getting behind them. And I was thinking, no, Josh, that's no how the Hibs fans are thinking, mate.
It's not going to happen.
No, it'd be an absolute disaster. It's the Celtic Rangers. You don't want your rivals to win the league. It's probably even bigger now because, as you said, nobody outside the Old Firm's won it in such a long time. So, yeah, listen, at the start of the season, you're thinking, right, great for Hearts. They're having a good run. And then as they started to keep winning games, you're thinking, what? Wait a minute here. I want them to do okay, but no that well. It's good for Scottish football. It is And I think every other club outside Celtic and Rangers and Hibs would probably want Hearts to win the league, to be honest, just for a bit of freshness and something different. But Hibs supporters, no chance. They'll be wanting to play the spoilers. They'll be wanting to blow it. They'll be wanting them to blow it Albert Kidd style in the last day of the season, in the last 5 minutes of the season, so they can gloat. So, no, absolutely no chance to any Hibs supporter that I know want Hearts to win the league.
It's actually Albert Kidd who's leading Hibs out tomorrow night.
I saw that for Josh last week. Like, he loves that kind of social media storm. This Josh, doesn't he? I thought he'd getting absolute pelters.
Well, look, on the game itself tomorrow, just the one-off game, I guess, how do you guys see it going? I mean, we've got some comments coming in, and I should say, if you're watching, please get involved in the conversation. But Davey says, how are Hearts going to cope with squeaky bum time? I mean, we are kind of getting to that territory. It'll be interesting to see how Hearts cope mentally, aside from anything else.
Yeah, listen, I think that when you look at the betting, right, I think the three of them are running about the same odds. You know, Celtic, Rangers and Hearts. There's no much in it between the three of them. But I think when you look at the course and distance winners, you look at the dressing rooms, you look at the amount of titles, you look at the managers, you look at the amount of titles, you would think Celtic, if it came down to squeaky bum time, if it came down to tight games, last day deciders, that they would have the edge. And I think that's what the Celtic supporters are maybe hanging their hat on. You know, they've got a manager there who is a very, very experienced manager. And I also think carries a bit of luck, Martin O'Neill. I think he's a good manager, but he's got the thing you need as a manager. He's got a wee bit of luck. He gets luck at the right times. So I think if it came down to the last few games, I think you would maybe fancy Celtic. Plus, after the split, you correct me if I'm wrong, they would have Rangers at home and Hearts at home, because they've obviously played them both twice away from home. So that's a big factor as well. So I think if Rangers are going to do it, I think the next three or four games, when they've got Hearts at home and Celtic at home, and they can potentially catch Hearts and maybe go ahead of Celtic, is the time for Rangers to go and really send the message out that they're real contenders. And I know they are, but there'll be a lot of Rangers supporters I still think that don't particularly trust them and don't think they've got it to get it over the line. I think if they beat Celtic at home, they beat Hearts at home, the Rangers supporters will believe that they can truly believe that they can win the league. So I think when you look at the three dressing rooms, I think that Hearts would be outsiders for me still, in terms of winning the league.
How do you see it, Mick?
I think Celtic are the great unknowns, because they're going to need these. I mean, we're signed 6 players in January. 2 of them, I think, Orojo and Chanchara, have looked apart. But the other 3, well, one of them, I mean, Ben Arthur's not going to be seen much. I mean, he wouldn't be chucking him into a game against Hearts or Rangers and these kind of things. He's only played one top team game for Brentford, so he's back up. The other 2, I mean, Adamu gets off a good start. He's back heel kind of leveler at the weekend. Mavuka had a good first 10 minutes, then kind of faded, and now punters think he's a dud. That's how it goes at Celtic. And I think for me the key is Oxlade-Chamberlain. If Oxlade-Chamberlain can come in and hit the ground running, I mean, he's been training at Arsenal for 3 months apparently. If he can come in and give Celtic a bit of control, because Celtic aren't controlling games, which is very un-Celtic-like. I mean, that's Falkirk, and then even Dundee at times at the weekend. Hearts the previous week, that they're not controlling games, and it's creating a kind of a lot of uncertainty for Celtic. And I think they keep playing the way they're playing just now, they're going to come a cropper and they won't win the league. If these guys can pull it together, they've got a chance.
Mick, sorry, do you see Oxlade-Chamberlain coming in the Hatate role? Do you think that Hatate's vulnerable the way he's been playing?
Very much. I think Hatate is. I mean, again, I thought he started okay on Saturday night, and then faded badly and was losing the ball. And I say Celtic didn't have any control in the game. I mean, if they're going to play with Hatate and Nygren is played quite advanced, and he's not a guy that's going to win second balls and what do you call it, the counter pressing and all that stuff. He's just knowing it's not in his makeup, but he'll pop up in the box and give it a go threat. Hatate should have more discipline to play that role, but he's not. So he's creating problems for Callum McGregor, and that makes him look bad at times. I think so. I think that's where Oxlade-Chamberlain goes. Otherwise, I'll play him deeper and let Callum McGregor go further up and let him be a bit more controlling the ball. But Celtic aren't dominating games like they used to, and it's creating a bit of chaos. Especially that when Celtic lose possession, they're getting put under real pressure, and it's. I think it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, they're getting results, and like you say, Martin was getting results. but the performances are not convincing. I mean, I thought Dundee were terrific on Saturday night. I thought they were really, really good, really brave in the ball. The boy Ethan Hamilton, superb. The goal he scored was unbelievable. But just in general, I thought they were really good. And Celtic need these guys I think they need to create more from the wide areas as well. I mean, Taneki came off the bench and did what he should be doing all season. Need more of that. I said Mavuka, sorry, he kind of struggled a bit once he got up by that. He looked like a guy short of confidence.
He was quite safe, wasn't he, Mick? He didn't do any. It was like Balak Wisha in his first game at Ibrox. I don't think he wanted to make a mistake. I think he was too safe. He got the ball. He took a couple of touches. He played it inside. You know, he was very, very safe. But I think you're right. Celtic support. Listen, any supporters at the Old Firm, you're instantly judged. So you're right. If he came, the boy Junior Adama he'll be brilliant. You know, he scored a winner. He's brilliant, and then the boy Mvuki will be rotten. So that's just football. That's just the way it is now, particularly at Celtic Rangers. But I think you'd be looking for him the next time to maybe be a wee bit more positive and go at the fullback more.
I intentionally obviously want to try and see these guys look like first. Now I watched them for a good 5-10 minute spell closely, and 2 or 3 times he could have went outside beyond his man. And I don't know if it's because he's very left-sided the way he plays. I mean, I don't think he trusts his right peg. He took a swing for across his right peg, and you can tell that wasn't his stronger one. It barely got into the penalty spot at one point. So I don't know if he's just so left side. He wants to always go inside, but he had chances to go out the outside a few times and turn it down, like you say, and cut back. And that's sometimes, I don't know, and you'll know better than myself, Tam. Is that a confidence thing sometimes that I'll take the safe option rather than gambling and go and beat a man? And I don't know. So maybe he just needs a bit of an arm on his shoulder and get built up. I don't know. But the jury's kind of out. They'll need them to be. Is he going? That's the question. Is he going to be the replacement for Yang or the backup to Yang? And Celtic are going this season with Yang as their first choice right winger. Listen, no offence to Yang, but he was at the door in the summer. He was third and fourth choice back then. So there's big question mark about Celtic creativity from the flanks and through the middle and their controlling game. So while these questions are still there, I don't see them winning the league. I think Rangers' recruitment looks stronger. The new guys are finding their feet. I mean, all right, you've got to take into account 10 men against Kelly and against a pretty woeful Queen's Park. But listen, they scored 13 goals. They've got momentum, confidence. The new guys are getting a game. The striker, the boy up top, looks a unit as well. I think if I was sticking my last quid, I'd be putting on Rangers right now.
See, just very briefly, we're going to talk about Rangers and Celtic in the Scottish Cup draw in just a second, but very briefly, just to go back to the Hatate point. One of the comments, Chris says Bernardo and Hatate have checked out. I'd be inclined to agree. I think Hatate, when he's at his best, is a phenomenal player, but it's getting to the point now where he just doesn't want to be there. It seems that's my gathering of it anyway. I
think so, Danny. I watched him closely the other night, and from the first minute, he didn't look as if he was at full pace, full pelt. You know, Dundee boys, Dundee good energy in the middle of the park, and they were ratting about him, and he was losing the ball, and he just looked as if he didn't want to be there. You're right, and I don't know. It's been a huge drop off for Hatate, and I think that he's maybe sulked that he's not got his move in the summer. Maybe there was interest in January and he's still there. He looks as if he wants to be anywhere else bar Celtic at the minute, and Celtic need all hands on deck. You know, they need everyone pulling in the one direction, because it's going to be a really, really tight title race, and you can't afford to carry any passengers. So maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain coming in and a wee bit of pressure on his position might ignite something under him, but he's been a shadow of the player that's been at Celtic over the past few seasons.
Which is a shame, because he is a brilliant player when he's at his best.
Technically, yeah.
But he's probably, I think he's maybe 18 months beyond his kind of sell-by date. I don't mean that in terms of the age, but in terms of when Celtic should have sold him. I think probably should have went. There's talk about Brighton and all that stuff in summer before last. Big money. They could have got 15 million quid back then, and I think that was probably time to wish him all the best. Since then, he's not really been great. I know that if he stayed to life at Brendan Rodgers, because he lost the ball so often, it was like Rodgers doesn't like gifting possession, especially. He likes a slow build-up play and keeping the ball. And Hatate is pulling his hair out with Hatate at times, because he's so kind of undisciplined. The way he plays off the cuff, the Hollywood passes all the time, and listen, when it comes off, it's brilliant. When it doesn't, he looks pretty average, and that's the way it's been all season. For me, Bernardo, I think Bernardo's. There has to be questions asked about Bernardo as well. I mean, he can ride for decent money. He was good in his loan spell. Not done an awful lot since. He had a couple of injuries, but that's a guy who's the record cap holder for Portugal under 21s. But you look at if you looked at him on Saturday and said that's Portugal's most capped under 21. You'd be thinking, what sport? The bobsleigh? It's certainly not the football team. Because honestly, because you're like, again,
Portugal famous for their bobsleighs, by the way.
Exactly, just one behind the Jamaican bobsleigh team. Genuinely, his form is actually he's going downhill at a rapid rate of knots.
Oh.
There you go. That was easy.
I actually embarrassed myself for that one. But what's happened? This is a guy with pedigree. And he has shown in the past. He should be able to start. I know in previous times he's come in, a team, it takes him 4 or 5 games to get going, but that's not really an excuse. He's 24 years old. He cost a few quid. He should be dominating games, and he's not. So I know Hatate gets battered. People point the finger at Cal McGregor bizarrely, but guys like Bernardo are there, decent whack of wages, and not contribute enough.
And Bernardo's one of them, Mick, that gets better when he doesn't play.
No, totally.
You know what I mean? Because Celtic supporters go, what? Where's Bernardo? How's he not playing? He should be playing. And then he plays, and then he doesn't do anything. Drops out the team. He'll drop out the team for 5 or 6 games, and then the supporters will be going, why don't we play Bernardo? But you're right. But he's been given opportunities like the other night, and he's not taking them. And there's only so many you get at a club the size of Celtic, particularly under Martin O'Neill. Eventually he goes, listen, that's you're scrubbed, and somebody else comes in. So you're right. He has been disappointing for them for the outlay that Celtic have paid for him in the pedigree.
Yeah, and if Bernardo is doing the business, Celtic can sell Arnie Engels for 25 million quid.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can trust him to play the rest of the season, you would sell Arnie Engels, but they can't trust him. So Martin O'Neill, he's not really gone to him that often because he's not performing. So it's not allowed Celtic to kind of earn a right good few quid for Engels either. So Engels is going to need to play in there, but then he doesn't have that creativity that much. He can hit a cross ball and he can take a corner kicking occasionally, but he's not really the kind of guy who's busting into the box and scoring goals that often. That's why I think Oxlade-Chamberlain could be the key to the whole thing for Celtic. If they can get him playing, even starting games, doing an hour, getting a grip of a game, or coming off a bench for half an hour if it's tight and seeing a game out, just getting that control over the middle of the park, which they've lacked for months, or in fact the whole season probably. There's a lot of question marks about that midfield, isn't there?
Aye. See, I know I'm bouncing about all over the place, but I didn't actually get a prediction from both of you for the game tomorrow night. Hearts v Hibs. How do you think it'll go?
I'm going to go for 2-1 to Hibs.
Mick?
I'm going to be a coward. I'm going to go 2 each. I think it'll be a silly one.
Scales on your backside.
Sitting in the fence, Michael. Shocking.
Sitting in the fence. I know. I think Hibs are. If you don't want to think the Hibs are a wee bit more kind of, like you say, the pressure's maybe off them a wee bit, and Hearts maybe a wee bit tense. But I think, but Hearts games, that's what I mean. The Hearts games, they're always in the balance, and it's fell their way more times than not this season. And eventually that might catch up them a wee bit. So yeah, I think Hibs have got a good shot at it, right enough.
We obviously, guys, need to talk about the Scottish Cup quarter-final draw. That was last night. And Mick, on Record Sport Online today, a big story regarding the Rangers versus Celtic game, which will be on, we don't know yet, March 7th or 8th, isn't it? It's not something decided.
March 8th, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But a big news today regarding the tickets and Celtic's allocation. Can you tell us any more?
Well, it's early days. This is going to rumble on for a few weeks, I think, this one, the ticket thing, because obviously under the Scottish Cup rules, you can apply for 20% of the capacity, which at Ibrox would be over 10,000. It's given the fact that Celtic haven't had anywhere near that number for a long time, makes it interesting because obviously they've got 2,000 going in the league game and coming up the week before, and they've had 750 since 2018 when the allocation was cut. So there's talk about. Celtic, I understand people I speak to in and around Celtic suggesting they're going to apply for the full whack and try and get 10,000 in the hope of getting the Broome loan stand, which is 7.5. But I don't think that's guaranteed either. I think Rangers might be thinking we'll try and get the league allocation, because obviously it's not set in stone. They have to give 20,000. That's the 20%. There is wiggle room if there's safety concerns or segregation issues or stadium issues, and plus the police have got to get involved. But so Celtic are going to ask the question. We want the 10k, thanks very much, and then we'll see how Rangers respond. I suspect what might happen is they might end up with the league allowance with the 2,500 or 2,000, because they've got the nets and all that and the segregation already in place for that league game week before. I expect that I think Rangers might go for that. It might mean the SFA need to step in. There might be a compromise. I don't know, but we're heading for another Old Firm ticket war, which is another story. That's the way it's going to head, I think.
In the comments, Rangers Easy OK says, I've no issue giving them the broom loan. Rules are rules, but will they fill it? I thought there was a boycott on. Great chance for us to ruin their season in a week. And if 7K of them are in tears, great. That's the kind of real pettiness that I think we all strive for. That is some run of games for Celtic. I mean, 4 away in a row. Stuttgart, Rangers twice, in Aberdeen. Look, that's tough. That's tough for any Celtic team.
Yeah, I think when you look at the games in importance, I think you would put the Stuttgart one in the least important. I don't think Celtic are going to win the Europa League. So whether they play a weakened team, I don't know. The Stuttgart away, whether they play their full strength team, they've got Rangers back to back coming up and Aberdeen in between the league. You know, the league is the bread and butter for Celtic this season, and obviously the cup as well. So yeah, I think that's going to be a pivotal, time in Rangers season and in Celtic season. Rangers have got an opportunity to knock Celtic out of the cup and pick up 3 points to go ahead in the title race, or it could be vice versa. So that is a massive, 10 days for Celtic coming up with those games. But that's what we want. We want to see big games. We want to see games that mean something, and that's why this title race this season is exciting for everyone, every supporter. Because you don't want dead rubbers. You don't want Celtic 10, 15, 20 points clear. Nothing to play for. Rangers second and a fight for third. You've got 3 legitimate title contenders going ham and tongs at it. And I think that's brilliant for Scottish football.
And in the comments, Mick, AF Scott says Rangers look a real physically imposing side now. It's night and day from the start of the season when McCoy's referred to them as looking like wee boys. I do think that's a point. I mean, it's always going to be a tough game for Celtic at Ibrox. But particularly now, Nadiri, Chukwani, Rangers look a different prospect.
Well, Celtic all season have looked vulnerable from set pieces. So who is the least, the team they want to face the least is Rangers, who have been lethal at set pieces. I mean, see the 8 goals? Am I right in saying that 5 of them for set pieces on Sunday against Queen's Park?
I think you're right.
Crosses.
I mean, they've obviously brought in their set piece guru, who's working wonders. Celtic have been vulnerable. I mean, Celtic not the biggest side anyway. I mean, I think you can tell some of the signs that come in January. Martinelli was after some height. I mean, Adamu's about 6 foot odd. Shankara's 6 foot odd. So you tell he wanted height in the team because he had a real lack of height up to that point. But you've got to see Rangers will be fancying it. I mean, the other team in form, and Celtic are a bit of a mystery. But this run of fixtures is fairly brutal. I mean, Celtic need to get through. I mean, Livingston Wednesday night, and Kelly on Sunday. They need to get through that first of all with 6 points. That's a given. You have to win those 2 games, and then you get Hibs, Stuttgart, Rangers, Stuttgart, then Rangers again, then Mull a week after that as well. Aberdeen, in there. It's going to. That's what I'm saying about these new signings. Martinelli's going to have to kind of rotate his squad and use every player he's got. So they're all going to need to step up. There's no room for any passengers, and there's little margin there. I think Tom's right. I think the European ones, it was probably a game they could do without. That draw in Bologna that were celebrating was probably the worst result they could have had.
They wouldn't play a weakened team though, would they?
No, I don't think it's hard to really, because I mean a lot of you guys haven't been registered for the Europa League, so they can't even play them anyway.
That's true.
You see the second half against Utrecht the other week, maybe Martin said to him at half time, boys, right, come on. Let's not be silly here. 3-0 in 20 minutes. I just think that's going to listen, it's going to be a monumental kind of 10 days for Celtic. I mean, it literally could make or break the season. I mean, it could fire them towards a potential double, or it could leave the campaign in absolute ruins. So it's blockbuster stuff, but I'd imagine Martin Neal would be thinking, "Oh no, that draw was the last thing he needed at that point in time." But the rest of us can sit back and lap it up, but he'll be having sleepless nights, I think.
Aye, and obviously that's regarding Celtic, but Rangers, big massive weekend for them. I know, obviously, you backed Hibs to beat Hearts tomorrow night, Tam.
Yeah,
that Rangers against Hearts at Ibrox on Sunday, that's absolutely mammoth. How do you see that going?
Yeah, Rangers have got 2 huge games coming up. Obviously, Motherwell away on Wednesday night, and then Hearts at home. 6 points out of those 2 games, and they'd be sitting pretty. But they're obviously the big ones at the weekend, and it's a very, very busy time for Rangers and Hearts. You know, they're playing their big rivals, and then they're playing against each other at the weekend. So that's going to be a massive game. You know, Hearts have been imperious this season against Rangers. You know, they've beaten them twice, and they'll be looking to do it again. And if they do that, they can go out a real way to go and win the league. But Rangers, I agree with the guys saying about the size in the team. I noticed that at the weekend. They now look like a real big team, physical team. Set pieces, they're dangerous. I think Fernandes is back from suspension on Wednesday. He's a big threat as well. So they do look a big, powerful team, and that's why I think they'll beat Motherwell tomorrow night. I think set pieces. I think they will bully Motherwell in terms of that aspect of the game and go and beat Motherwell. I don't think they'll bully Hearts. I think that's what Hearts and Derek McManus have prided themselves on all season. You know, set pieces and defending corners, and they're going to attack the ball in the box. So that could be a real brutal physical battle at the weekend, Rangers against Hearts. But listen, we're all looking forward to some huge games coming up this week.
I jumped ahead there a wee bit and completely missed out. Motherwell playing Rangers tomorrow night.
I mean, about the form team in the country just bypassed them there.
I know, that was out of order. But
Big Jens are banging your door. I wouldn't mess with him either.
Aye, that's true. Jens, we'll talk later. Green Machine says Rangers will be tested by Motherwell, keep the ball on the ground. I was saying to Mick before we come on air, Tam, that Keith Jackson came out with a stat last night, which I have checked because you know he can be a bit unreliable. But Motherwell haven't conceded a goal at home since October the 18th. I mean, that is remarkable. I mean, it's one thing going in this run, but not to concede a goal at home. I mean, see, to be honest, I kind of go along with you and I would back Rangers to win tomorrow night, but I'm not that confident about it.
Yeah, I think when you look at how open Motherwell play, you know, when the defenders split and get the ball and midfielders drop in and the play wide players go very, very wide, the fullbacks play wide. They're very open to play against. So that stat is incredible that they've not conceded a goal since October. So they're very good defensively, but they're going to be tested big time against Rangers. I think Rangers are the best team in the league at set pieces. I think they've really improved since the lad Fry's come in as well. And I think that with the size that they've got, the delivery into the box, they're going to test Motherwell. I think Rangers won't be too concerned about possession. I think we've seen that under Danny Rall, that they can be fairly pragmatic in their approach. They can come and sit in and let the other team have the ball, let Motherwell dominate the ball, and then they can pick them off on the counter-attack or at set pieces. So I think it's a real fascinating clash of styles. And up until a week ago, they say a week's a long time in football, I thought Rangers were struggling for goals and creativity. And then they've scored 13 goals in 2 games. So that's going to breed confidence throughout the whole club. The strikers, the midfield players scoring assists, and they're going to get into the game confident as well. So not only tomorrow night, Hearts Hibs is going to be a belter I'm looking forward to watching, but that Motherwell Rangers game's a cracker as well.
And I did say it was tomorrow, and I've already been pulled up for it in the comments. It's, of course, Wednesday, so I'm on fire today, guys. So it's going well. But, Mick, how do you see Motherwell against Rangers? Who do you think will come out on top?
I think it's a cracking game. It's like you say, it's contrasting styles. Motherwell, I mean, I think Motherwell are the best team to watch this season in the league. I think they've been terrific. I've seen them in the flesh a few times, and if I'm not watched them in the flesh, I'd go and look it out to watch them because they're really, really impressive. The way they play the game, they're brave on the ball. It's going to be interesting because Rangers will try and dominate them physically. I think Steve Welsh getting back to Motherwell was a big boost for them as well. Getting them late in the window, especially for those kind of corner kicks and set pieces. But Motherwell shouldn't be scared of anyone the way they play. And the thing is, Rangers will leave some gaps for them at times to go and try and exploit. You look at McManus, getting in those channels. The boy Elijah Just has been a star this season, hasn't he? Been brilliant this season. I actually think that's the one that Celtic should have went and got. We're talking about Celtic later on. I think he's one that they could have went and tried to get. Never mind McManus. He looked like a bit of a no-brainer. I think he's been terrific. I think Rangers probably would have enough to get through it, but it's not going to be straightforward. That's for sure. It might be a game decided by a set piece. Again, the Motherwell pitch isn't looking that great, is it? I mean, I know it's been great for years. I thought it used to be brutal, didn't it, Tam, back in the day?
Oh, horrendous.
was a sandpit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was flip flops rather than boots on that part, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was always one of the worst pitches to play on when I was playing, and then the last few seasons it's been like a bowling green.
Aye.
But I think just with the weather, there's been a lot of rain, obviously, and a lot of pitches are struggling. I mean, even Hibs during the week against Dundee United, their pitch has been fantastic this season, and I couldn't believe how bad it was on Wednesday. I hope my groundsman's not watching, but I think it's just with the weather and the amount of rainfall we've had in January and February that a lot of the parts are struggling. But that, I think, again, Motherwell, the way they play, they need a good surface to go and play.
Aye.
And if it's bobbly and if it's soft and heavy, I don't think that'll suit Motherwell as much as it would suit Rangers.
Yeah.
I might be throwing you under the bus here, but Big Shug in the comments says, is Watt still injured for Motherwell? I have to admit that
Yes.
I'm not. Yes, still injured.
Aye. So he's a miss as well. He's a miss. He's been absolutely superb this season as well.
I was frantically googling it to see if he was fit.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the Hull, he's out.
Right, before I move on to the very last thing, guys, give me a score. How's it going to go? Motherwell Rangers.
Oh, I'll go for 2. I'll go for 2-1 to Rangers. I think they'll just edge it.
Mick?
I think 1-0. Yeah, I think a scrappy 1-0. Get out of dodge, win for Rangers, I think. Although I wouldn't listen to me. The last time I cooped up was probably before the last time Motherwell lost a goal at Fir Park. It's been a while. So, said the caution in my predictions, that's for sure.
I'll go for a draw. We'll go 1 each. But I think it will be a fascinating game. I was saying to Mick earlier, I was taken aback by not just how they beat Celtic at New Year, but the way they beat them. They really outplayed them. They were so impressive. The very last thing, guys, is the Scottish Cup draw itself. We all know, obviously, about Rangers taking on Celtic. But Dunfermline against Aberdeen or Motherwell, that'll be a good tie. St Mirren against Partick Thistle and Falkirk. No disrespect to Spartans, but you'd imagine it'll be Falkirk against Dundee United. So there's a lot of opportunities there for clubs to get to the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup.
Yeah, I think if you were any club outside of Celtic and Rangers, you're absolutely buzzing that they've drawn each other. I used to always think that when I was playing. You want Celtic and Rangers to be drawn against each other in the cup because one of them's going out, one of the big hitters, and you could have an opportunity to avoid the other one and get to a semi-final or a final. So, yeah, obviously I think the favourites will be whoever wins that tie to Rangers and Celtic to go in and win it. But if you're a Motherwell supporter, for example, or even a Falkirk supporter, you're thinking, what an opportunity we've got to get to a final. And Celtic Rangers have not been great this season. And in a one-off game, you would usually think, Celtic Rangers would take care of either of them, but you wouldn't think that this season. I think Motherwell definitely and Falkirk have shown this season that in one-off games, even St Mirren in the final, they've shown that Celtic Rangers are vulnerable. So I think it's wide open outside of that Celtic Rangers tie.
I was going to say there that I know it's not been plain sailing for St Mirren in the league, but this season has been that mad, that unpredictable. Mick, St Mirren to win both the cups. Stranger things have happened.
Listen,
St Johnstone did.
Aye, exactly.
St Mirren in any one-off game are a nightmare for most teams. I know they've got a great run of it in the league. I don't know, I've got a wee sneaky Mull, as I keep telling I'm talking them up tonight. But I mean, was it 35 years since they won it in 1991? Remember the famous 4-3 final? But that was some reward for their season, wouldn't it? To end up with a trophy. But
they beat Aberdeen on the way that season as well.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Aye, so maybe the omens are out for Motherwell. But listen, you've got to be honest. Like Tam says, the winners of that Old Firm tie are going to be the heavy favourite, especially with the two Edinburgh clubs tripping up so far. So yeah, it's like you say, the other teams. I think Aberdeen showed it last year. Aberdeen, somehow managed to get to the final and hadn't kicked a ball for 6 months, then won the cup in the final. Having get gubbed by Celtic about 10 days earlier by 5, remember? They got beat 5-1 the week before with Celtic reserves, remember? And then won the cup. So it just shows you the old Scottish Cup still got still magic, still can be drama there. So these teams all believe they can do it.
Absolutely. And we will be covering it all here on Record Sport. But for now, guys, I think that brings us to the end of Monday night's Hotline Live, brought to you by NordVPN. Thank you so much for all the comments. Massively appreciate it. And we'll be back to do it all again at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Tam, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, guys.
And Mick, It's always a pleasure spending dinner with you.
I've been sitting here looking at Tammy's golf gear. I'm not all jealous here. I think I don't know if he's,
I'm pining for a game, Mick. I'm pining for a game. Honestly, the weather's depressing.
Have you ever played each other at golf out of interest?
No, Tam bottled it last year. We're going to get again this year.
I've heard Mick's a shark.
He ran away from me last year. You dodged me all summer. So this year, this year.
Well, we'll maybe try and broadcast that live when it finally happens. We'll get that on record sport. But no, thanks, guys. Massively appreciated. And as I say, thanks for watching. Hope you can join us tomorrow. Cheers.